Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing. Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 327 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. So as I record this, I'm sitting here and the sun is setting. It's been such a beautiful day. I don't know if you see this, but I notice everyone seems happier when the sun is shining. Do you notice that? Maybe it's just me, but people everywhere were in a good mood today. I call that sunshine energy, and I want to be around that. I've also heard that watching the sunset outside with the sun on your face really helps your circadian rhythm. So if you get the sun in the morning and in the sun at night, you're just getting so many health benefits. So I do try to get that as often as possible. I mean, it's good for your mindset and it's good for your physical health. What's not to love, right? But I think a lot about health, and I know you know that because I talk a lot about it too, because I know for me how much I've struggled to be a healthy weight and to be the size I want to be and to be healthy, how hard I work to maintain and optimize my health. And a lot of that has to do with weight. I also see so many other women struggling the same, but it always seems like an uphill battle. Like my yoga instructor who has been struggling to get her baby weight off. It's not coming off like she wanted it to. Or an acquaintance who at 55, she cannot stop gaining weight and it's destroying her confidence. And I understand the feeling of not wanting to look in the mirror with no clothes on. I used to literally turn away from the mirror so I didn't have to look at myself. But I don't have to do that anymore. I'm going to turn 50 in June. So yes, I work out, but I always have. I had a lot more fat on my body at 30 than I do now. I worked out then and I work out now. So it's not about working out. I wish it was. It's all about the food that we're choosing. And let me just say before I get too far into my rant here, I love you guys. I see you. I am you. Honestly. I never used to think that I could be a person that was super disciplined about what I eat and drink. I would say I'm not that person. I don't want to be that person. And then I realized I am that person. I am disciplined. I just had to shed the part of me that wasn't. And deep down inside, I believe you are too. Maybe you too can shed that part of you that isn't. Food is a struggle for most people that I know. It's either what the heck do I eat? Or I don't even eat that much and I'm still gaining weight. It's a very, very, very common problem. Like I said on Friday's episode, 70% of Americans are overweight. And that has everything to do with our food. And everyone seems to have an opinion on food. Have you noticed that? Some will tell you, well, this diet works best. You have to do that, or you should eat this way, or only for this long. There's so much information out there. It is almost impossible to decipher what's true and what isn't, and what's right for you and what isn't. But I think there is one thing that is especially damaging to us, and it is something that is said in a well-meaning way. But I believe its damage goes beyond word value. And what that is that it is not our fault if we're overweight. And look, I could get on board with that statement that it's not our own fault if we're overweight because the food industry, they've manipulated our food into something that is no longer food. It looks like it tastes like it, but there's no nutrition. So it simply isn't food. And then on top of that, they add ingredients that make you addicted. So you keep wanting more and more of it. So yes, if I didn't know the deeper consequences of believing it's not my fault, then I would agree with it. But I can't do that. You know why? Because by saying it's not my fault, it takes the power completely out of my hands to do anything about it. When it's not your fault, then you're powerless to change it. That makes you a victim of an unseen monster that isn't going away. I don't want to be a victim, and I don't think you do either. And people will say, well, it's the kind thing to say that it isn't their fault because the big bad food companies have made it impossible to be healthy. No, the big bad food companies, what they've done is create options that if we choose those options, it makes it impossible for us to be healthy. But as long as we get to decide what we buy at the grocery store or what we eat at a restaurant, all the power still lies in our hands. That's the ugly truth. That's the truth no one wants to hear or say. But when you cut out all the noise, all the yummy looking commercials that have you dying for a pizza or a cookie or a Coke and a smile. If you cut out all the articles and the news stories that big corporations like to put out trying to make obesity normal and healthy, when you cut out all that noise, what are you left with? You're left with your choices, your gut, your intuition of what's right and what's healthy. My gut knows when something's too good to be true. I don't know if you remember or not, maybe you do, but when and they may still have them, but where they had those chips where they put the fat blocker in it, so you supposedly could eat them and your body would just eliminate the fat instead of absorbing it. It was called Olestra, I believe. But the side effects were horrible diarrhea. It said it right on the back of the package. So they prey upon our taste buds with no concern for our welfare. Sure they do. That's their job. But you have the choice to not allow it. And there are plenty of people that don't eat processed foods and sugar every day. Plenty. And it is hard at first. And then you realize how much better you feel and how much clearer your brain is and how much nicer your clothes fit. Big food corporations and big pharma, they create options, but you don't have to choose them. They tell you it's not your fault so that you'll keep eating it and taking it. And now they have you in this vicious cycle of misery. And if you say you're confused, you don't know why you keep gaining weight or you feel so bad when you eat healthy. If you could see me, I'm using air quotes. And by healthy, I mean by the big food industry standards. So sugary yogurt, orange juice, Raisin Bran, because that's what they've sold you. Sometimes we just don't want to believe that that isn't true. It took me a long time and a low point to finally realize that, you know what? It actually is my fault. What I eat is 100% my decision. And that's how I want to view it, because I don't want to think it's someone else's fault. I want to place the blame squarely on me. I don't know about you, but that's just saying that gives me hope. Because if I'm responsible, then I can also change it. So your body and your brain are not owned by big corporations. They're not owned by big food corporations or big pharma unless you allow it. Your body is not a bureaucracy where you have to go through 15 people and tons of red tape to make a change. There's only one person you have to convince, and that's yourself. So yeah, it's confusing when they say orange juice is healthy or chocolate milk is healthy, or when they say eat healthy Raisin Bran. Do you know how many grams of sugar is in Raisin Bran? 19 grams. That's 4.5 teaspoons of sugar. And that's if you measure out 1 cup and only eat that. I used to could sit and eat half the box, thinking I was eating healthy. So that's tons of sugar before you ever get your day started. And if you add a glass of orange juice to that, you just added 5.5 more teaspoons of sugar, as long as you only drink 8 ounces. And they don't want you to think about that. They just want you jonesing for your next fix. And they know once you're addicted, you will be. So when you cut through the noise and you really ask yourself, what do I know without a doubt is healthy? Let's start there. Whole fruit, vegetables, salad, eggs, clean proteins like fish, chicken, steak. Cut through the noise. Be a free thinker. Be part of the radical culture of people who are healthy and fit. That's radical these days. Did you know that? You're still listening to me, which tells me that you are a free thinker, or at the very least, you're open to it. My challenge to you today is to embrace the part of you that wants to be part of the radical culture. Tear your brain and your body away from the addictions that steal your joy. That's what it's doing. Sugar, social media, food commercials, brainwashing articles, and politics. Be a free thinker by accepting responsibility for every decision you make. And you'll become unstoppable because you've taken the power of your choices back into your own hands. And if that's radical culture, then count me in. In fact, put me on the board. Share this manifesto with as many people as you dare. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.